Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Najah binti Ahmad Tarmizi. I am the first author of our research article, and the corresponding author is Dr. Aishah Hanim binti Karim. We are from the Kuliah of Education, International Islamic University, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. So today I will be presenting the topic of our research, which is exploring mothers' parenting styles and its impact towards young children's self-esteem. Okay, so let's take a look at the first part. This is the introduction and the problem statement. Okay, so the introduction, we're talking about self-esteem, which is one of the construct that primarily is the focus of the study. So it is known interchangeably also as self-worth. So it is an individual's satisfaction with himself or herself, and it is also the person's perspective of his own physical and psychological well-being. So in the development of self-esteem, there are a few factors that would influence the formation of our self-esteem, especially in the terms of early childhood. So one of the main factors that we are highlighting in the study is parental attitude towards their child and their parenting styles in rearing the child. Okay, parenting styles also effectively determines the development of the children, and it contributes significantly to the children's psychopathology. So the problem statement that we're dealing with is we are assuming the child's self-esteem that is influenced by the parenting styles chosen by the parents when they are rearing their child. So especially in children who are 5 years old and younger. Okay, so this is a literature review. So according to Martinez et al. 2020, historically, studies have pointed out that one of the most optimal and one of the best parenting style is the authoritative parenting style. However, there's also a study by Yunting and Soon in 2019, which mentions that indulgent or permissive parenting style may make the children become more independent because they are able to make their own decision, right? But at the same time, because the parents do not regulate them as much, so it may also lead to low self-esteem. And there's also another study by Jaden and Tripathi in 2017, where they indicated that authoritative parenting style also shows a positive correlation with the child's self-esteem. But in a study by Loon and Sheffels in 2018, they found that indulgent parenting style influences better than the authoritative parenting style when it comes to children's self-esteem and school performance. So we're going to take a look at the methodology of the study. So the method that I opt for this research is qualitative study, and we employed phenomenological approach because we are studying the lived experience of the mothers uh, and their parenting styles. And the samples were gathered through purposive sampling. This is because we want the mothers to have similar criteria, such as the mothers need to be no, the mothers are mothers of children 5 years old and below, and they are both full-time and part-time workers. So the mothers are working. Okay, so for the data collection procedure, I use WhatsApp as the medium of communication. So it was a one-to-one online interview, and I conducted a semi-structured interview that lasted between 30 to 45 minutes, and the interview was transcribed in order to conduct the data analysis. So one of the reasons that WhatsApp was used for the interviews due to the pandemic. So we are practicing social distancing. So we would like to minimize contact between the researcher and the participant. Okay, next is the data analysis. So the data was analyzed using interpretative phenomenological analysis. So the responses from the parents in the form of statements, sentences, and quotes were identified, and from there we extracted major and minor themes from the transcription, and the clusters of the themes were labeled accordingly. And the themes that are identified in the interview are presented in summary table together with the quotes that best illustrates the themes that were selected. Okay, so moving on to the findings. So among the themes that we have discovered in the research is that, so the first one is the terms on the parenting styles of the mothers. So the first one will be spending quality time with the child. So this is illustrated well by the parents. So the three participants all spend quality time with their children. So, for example, for participant one, there are times when I either help him with his arts or individually do our own. And for participant two, the child would always ask to play with her. And for parent three, they would guide and actively also play with the child. Okay, the next one, the second theme is moderate demand from the parent. So the parents from the quotes, we can see that they are realistic with their expectation and they are mindful of the milestones that the children achieve. And of course, they are also very in tune with the child's emotions. So they do not force the children to do more than what they can do. And they will try to calm down the child when she is not able to meet the expectation, and they will try it again. The third one is all of the parents, they implemented a structured daily routine. So each of the child would have a daily routine that they follow, but in a way that it is not rigid or too structured. They would have their own activities, but at the same time, the parents will monitor. And the next one is addressing child's emotions. So this is one of the most important things that we have found, where the parents, the mothers especially, they are very in tune with the emotion of the children. So they would attend to the child, they would listen, and they will also suggest what it is that they can do to resolve the conflict. And most of the time, the child will be able to help the parents also. They will be able to suggest how they would want to resolve the issue. And the parents are also very in tune with their own emotion in order to be in tune with their children's emotion. Okay, so in the findings support, we can see here that children with high self-esteem, they tend to be securely attached to the parents who are warm and democratic. And parents who show loving, form secure attachment with their children and communicate approval and acceptance will help the child to think positively about themselves. And parents whose children have high self-esteem also enforce clearly stated rules of behavior, and at the same time, they also allow the children to express their opinions and participate in decision making. Okay, so this democratic parenting style gives the children a firm basis for evaluating their behavior and sends them the message that their opinions are respected by the parents. And in authoritative parenting, the characteristics being that the parents are flexible, they are demanding, but at the same time, they also exert control, and they are accepting, and they're also responsive towards the child. And they set clear rules and consistently enforce them. But at the same time, they also take the time to explain the rationale of the rules to the children so that they understand and responsive to their children's needs and points of view. And often they involve the children in family decision making. And the parents are also more reasonable and they are democratic in their approach. So it is clear that they are in charge, but at the same time, they communicate respect for their children. The next portion of my presentation, we're going to talk about the themes that we found on child's self-esteem. So the children in the study, they are friendly and easygoing child. So they are usually very easy to mingle with others, easy to make friends, and they are not as shy. And the second one, they are also very expressive and they can express themselves well. For example, participant two says that with family she is honest, she speaks her mind but considerate, and she can always explain herself and how she feels well. The third one is that the children has wide range of interests. So the children all have different types of activities that they are interested in. They are not fixated on one activity or they are only interested in this one activity. So they are up for different kind of activities. Which bring us to the next thing, which is open to new activities. So the first participant said that the child is very curious and likes to try new things. And the other mother, which is participant three, emphasized that when she is introduced to different activities, the child is always up for it. And next one, the child also often takes pride in their accomplishments. So the first participant mentions that the son would be happy that he managed to complete his art and would display them on the fridge door. And participant number three, the child would always show the parents the things that she has achieved or her worksheets, and she will communicate to the parents how she did it. So for finding support, we're looking at the characteristics of children with high self-esteem. So children with high self-esteem, as reviewed by Dr. Linus Darcy, they are more likely to try their best, so they do not give up easily. They have more confidence to try new things. They are proud of what they can do and their abilities, and they are more able to cope with mistakes. And instead of being sullen about it, they would be happy to try again. And the next one is they're willing to try again after a failure. Okay, so that brings us to the conclusion and implication of the study. Okay, so the findings of the study has illustrated well the parenting styles of the participants as well as the self-esteem of the children. So from the study, we can see that the parents, they mostly take on the authoritative parenting styles, and the children also show characteristics of children with high self-esteem. So we're hoping that this study may inspire parents to study more and adopt a suitable parenting style in order to raise children who are sound in their self-esteem, and also that the information can be used to educate more parents in a larger scale, such as to be distributed by education bodies or by health organizations so that this information is readily available for everyone. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.